Okay, so I've been in online business for the past 3 years, and what is it all about? Is it what everybody makes it out to be? I mean, kinda, not really though. Um, it's definitely, I don't know, a lot different than I think most people think it is. So I kind of give you a little bit of my input here on what my experience with online business for the past 3 years is like. So I'll set this thing up here, and we're gonna get into it. So, like I said, 3 years. I've been in online business now. When I started, it was early 2023, and I was working a job at the time that I actually ended up quitting in May of 2023, early June 2023. Once I had closed my first client. So, a little bit more context. I have a marketing agency, and I had a marketing agency at the time as well. Um, and I really went all into this thing, and online business was really blowing up at the time, late 2022, 2023, the SMMA business model, that was really what was starting to take off at the time. So I kind of dove into it, and I was like, okay, I want to quit my job. I don't like the job I work. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this or something like this for the rest of my life. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to change it. I'm going to take control of that right now. So and that's what I did. February of 2023, I had started the agency. And then, like I said, it took me about 3 months to close my first paying client. When I did that and when I closed that guy, it was a mortgage broker actually at the time. And then I quit my job, closed the guy while I was at work, saw the Stripe payment come through, and then the next day I quit. And I just went all in, just dove in head first. Now this was really when it became real. It became very real, and it took a couple of days, after, quitting the job, 2-3 days. And I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that this was coming. I knew that I was going to do this. But the first couple of days after was okay, we're really in the thick of it, right now. So, and this is it. Here we go. Immediately changed my entire daily routine. I tried to optimize everything as quickly as possible. When I was waking up, when I was going to sleep at night, the water I was drinking, all that stuff. Being in the gym, every day, all that stuff. I really took control of my schedule, right off the rip there, to try and dial myself in quickly, and it definitely worked. For a while, I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd go outside, do a run, come back, read 100 pages of a book. It was crazy. It was some psychopath stuff, but I definitely don't regret doing any of it at all. Because it just trained my mind to be, ultra disciplined, which, obviously it's paying off. It's paid off, I'd say. July of 2023, because again, now I'm throwing myself into this, right? I'm into this online business space. Obviously, I'm scrolling through Money Twitter, doing all that stuff. Wasn't a participant in that at the time, but definitely paying attention to it from the outside. But then I'm okay, so where are all these people? All these people are in South Florida, in Miami specifically. So I'm okay, I'm going to Miami. So July of 2023, me and my brother, I had a friend who had lived down in Miami, right in the middle of Brickell, and we're okay, let's go down there. Let's see what this place is all about. And I remember flying into Miami, landing, and then once I got to my friend's place, his building was right on the outside of Brickell. I was blown away when I started walking around the city and seeing the cars, just the restaurants and everything, all that shit that you'd see online about oh, Miami, and yeah, I was literally right in Brickell, but going even into downtown, out to Key Biscayne, Coral Gables, just checking out the city for the first time. And Brickell was the first real experience that I got. I was okay, I gotta move here as quickly as possible. So when I was there, right when I stepped foot into that city, I'm I need to figure out how to get here ASAP. Okay, because just being surrounded by people that are just getting money, regardless of what you want to think of the city or the people that are there. Regardless of if the cars are rentals or if somebody owns them, they're not. And I did end up living there for about a year and a half, and I can tell you there's a lot of very real money there, and there's some people there that seriously got it. And those are obviously the people you want to be, surrounding yourself around if you're in a city like that. But made it a point, I'm okay, I got to get there as quickly as possible. Didn't have enough money at the time to do it, so obviously I couldn't do it right then and there. Fast forward to October 2023, I have maybe three paying clients at the time. And, I'm like, not great, but starting to like get the wheels turning a little bit. It took a while, and like keep in mind here, like the time frame, like it's, I started February of 2023. It took me 3 months to close my first one, and then between there and August, I only had, or October, excuse me, three clients. Like I only had 3 clients that were like active that were paying me. So I decided, okay, like this wasn't enough. I'm still in my hometown. Like I need to like just get out of here. So I ended up going down to South Carolina for about a year straight. And this is October 2023 in an area where I didn't know anybody. I knew nobody at all. I had no distractions. Couldn't get distracted by anything other than like just working. And so I actually ended up living in South Carolina for about a year straight. And then I made the move to Miami, but year straight, and from October, of 2023 to October of 2024, I was in South Carolina. Didn't know anybody, and I was completely able to focus and just work on the business and be literally in the thick of it every day. And it was so much fun. Like it was an absolute blast. Forced self-isolation for sure, but yeah, I removed all the distractions from my life. And one of the realities of being an online business, I think it's really lonely. It can get really lonely. Personally, I've never really considered it to be like that, but I can see why people would think that. You got to surround yourself with the right people, of course. But if you're like doing Zoom meetings with your team or whatever, nothing's like in person. If you're, as you start to increase your way through the ranks of online business as well, and you get, obviously get above the first 10K a month, 20K a month, 50K a month, 100K a month, 150K a month, 200K a month, whatever, people are going to drop. Like people are just going to drop. Like people who, like your friends, like, growing up in your hometown or whatever, like people are just going to fall off. And that's, something that should be, expected, but you're also at the pace that you're moving, and it certainly was the case for me at the pace that I was moving. Some people, they dropped off, and something you've got to be okay with. But I met a lot of new, really great people at the same time that were like-minded as me. I joined a mastermind as well. It was a coaching group that had like a mastermind aspect to it, and I think I paid like 10K or something like that for a little over 10K for that. And I joined that in February of 2023 before I even had a client. And they had like an in-person event in November of 2023. So after I had been in South Carolina for a little while, there was this event in Miami again. So I got to go back there. And again, like I'm even more so like, okay, like I got to get myself here. And I got to network with a whole bunch of great people. And I think at the time I might have been doing like 10K a month. I think in November, I think was my first 10K month. Second 10K a month, I think, in November of 2023. But yeah, I got to meet like a lot of like great new like-minded people in Miami, and it was it was great. A lot of great new connections, right? But I don't think a lot of people fully understand what fully isolating yourself for a year is really like until you actually do it. Like a year is a lot of time. You can make a lot happen, and you can change your entire life, and arguably way less than a year in my opinion. But a whole year straight where, I throughout the course of that year, I might have saw my family like 4 times, maybe. And, obviously like I come from like a big family, so that was like a pretty big shakeup. But yeah, I mean, like not seeing my family, like I only for like holidays, throughout that entire year, literally only speaking with prospects, people that I'm selling to. And like, my very few team members that I had at the time, which I think, early 2024, I had a setter that was working for me who would set calls to my calendar and I would close everything. I had an outbound VA who was doing a lot of cold DMs as well, putting calls on my calendar. And then I had a media buyer that was handling the few active accounts that I had. But I was able to make so much happen like in this 1 year. And again, like it was so fun. I'd do anything to put myself in the same exact situation again where, it was just pure hunger and like grind for that entire period. So I highly recommend putting yourself in a situation like that if you haven't in the past. I think it's I think you're going to learn a lot about yourself when you do something like that, and I think it'll be very very beneficial. And I would do it again, 100%. I actually might do it again here in the near future, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, then I was there for about a year and a half. Again, like didn't really leave that many times. I went to Miami again in summer of 2024, with a couple of buddies that I'm like, okay, like I gotta get there. You know what I mean? Like I've got to get there. And luckily for me, like I have a couple good friends that I actually went to high school with that they're grinders as well. They're go-getters also. They got their own thing going on, and they're making money as well. And June of 2024 was the last time that I visited Miami as, a tourist, I guess you could say. Fast forward a little bit, I get back to South Carolina in June of 2024. I had met my business partner just through, he was just a mutual and like a group, like another group that we were both mutuals in. And, we got to know each other a little bit. He was really good at things that I wasn't very good at, and then vice versa. So it made a pretty good mix. So we decided to come together, see what would happen if we partnered up, combine our skill sets. So we started this new endeavor together, and we blew it up pretty quick. Spoiler alert, we hit 100K a month, or crossed it in January of 2025. So we partnered up end of July of 2024, and then January of 2025 was our first 100K month, and I think we did like 119,000 or something like that, 118,000 that month. But back to South Carolina, it was an absolute grind. I had my business partner actually fly out to me in August of 2024. We were working on this thing together. He was like, I was taking all the sales calls, so like he would be in like the other room, like listening to like my sales calls and everything. Like if I was back to back, like he'd be talking with like my setter to like help like reschedule, like rearrange things or push people back. He'd be occupied. While I close one person and then I can get to the next guy and then close that guy too. But it was butter. It was lights out. Like I would close somebody and then like immediately after, like as quickly as possible, it'd be my partner's turn. Like he would be taking the onboarding call, getting people onboarded, all the technical stuff set up. That's basically like the system that we ran, and we just rinse and repeat for a while. So October 2024, finally get the place, finally get the condo in Miami, and made that big move. That was this was a big one. This was a big breakthrough, I think, for me, because now just being surrounded by the energy that a city like Miami has to offer, where I look off my balcony and there's SVJs, Bugattis, like just Ferraris, like the most ridiculous cars like you could possibly imagine. And like I could see like obviously like the bay as well, and I see all the yachts like coming in and out like every day. It's just like ridiculous. It's like a totally different energy. Like that type of just being surrounded by that will just make you put your like what you deem as like big or successful like into perspective. So that immediately raises standards for me. My first week in Miami, I had a record sales week, closed a record amount of units, record amount of cash collected, and then got the holidays, like November record month, December record month. Not by much though, only about like a 20-ish K difference between November and January. And I obviously went home for Christmas, and then I came back December 29th of 2024. Had a couple of buddies come in for New Year's. So we went out, obviously, in Miami. And I don't drink, like, at all. So there was not really that much drinking going on, really, at all. But we went out. I had, like, a good time just around the city. Went to Hell's Kitchen, actually, downtown with those guys. Good spot, by the way. And January, I ended up, I'm back. I'm locked in now. I'm in Miami. I'm not leaving for the foreseeable future. It's time to lock in, okay? So I took so many sales calls that month, and I had promoted a setter to closer as well. So then I had him taking sales calls as well because we had the volume to support it. And we just blasted through. I think December we did like maybe 65K, I think. 65K, I think, in December. And then January, huge boom, and 119K. So huge difference. And just being in Miami, like I said, like being now in like an area where, I'm not isolated anymore. Like I have friends around me. I have peers around me. networking opportunities like around me, like going out to restaurants like all the time, like just the lifestyle just completely changed. And I think that benefited the business in a very good way as well. And it got us to the point to where we were making enough to like stabilize it then. And then obviously, reinvest back in ourselves as well. But what I mean by stabilize it, like even right now, like we have 2 full-time CSMs, we have 3 full-time media buyers, 4 full-time people that work in our call center. We have a sales director. Like we have like a very like well-built and like established team now. After doing this for being over 100K a month, I should say, since like January of 2025, it gave us the cash to reinvest it back into the business and then stabilize it and then hire really good people. And even now, it's like we have a great team. We have such a great team at this point now. And owner dependency is really at an all-time low, which is great for myself and my partner as well. I mean, we really only have to focus on like the highest leverage things, which, for me being like the front end marketing, getting involved in sales as well from time to time. I still take calls here and there, but have a team that handles most of it. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of a rant, but 3 years of being an online business now. I mean, I don't know. If you go back to the day I quit my job and you tell me like this is what I'd be doing, this is what it would look like 3 years later, I don't know. I don't know if I'd believe you for sure, but like I wouldn't have been able to get this detailed with it. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, constantly too, like along the way, because I think it's you got to work on improving yourself as well, like every step of the way, and be constantly focused and centered around self-improvement. I think that's very important. Physically, mentally, spiritually, all these things are very, very important to do and keep in mind. And investing in coaching, I think, is a great thing. Doing what you like, get in the gym. Like I had a performance coach that I had hired for a while as well. Worked with him for a while back in 2024. Got me on like the Oura Ring, got me on like just everything dialed. My sleep dialed, workouts dialed, the food that I was eating dialed. Like I was reinvesting like a lot back into myself along the way. And even now, like we pay thousands of dollars a month, just for coaching and access to a mentor. Now that's leagues ahead of us. But again, it's obviously very insightful. It's why we make the investment and keep ourselves surrounded by people that are way bigger than us. Because now it's like we don't even view, doing the 150K a month that we do now as a very big number. It's not. It's very small actually, and not something that we're very impressed with anymore. But constantly push yourself, level up, and keep yourself surrounded by people, which I think is tough because there's not many of us that are like-minded and gonna be good for the mental and then obviously good for business as well. But yeah, that's like what my past 3 years have looked like. Hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below if you want me to go into anything specifically. But yeah, I mean that's just from my POV what the past 3 years have looked like.